Hi everyone, how are you today? Today we are on, for math, we are on 9.6, add fractional parts of 10 and 100. So today I can add fractions when the denominators are 10 and 100. You can only add fractions when they are the same denominator. Okay, so and I will show you how. The 4th grade classes are painting designs on squares to make a mural. Fun! Mrs. Stark's class painted 3/10 of the mural, and Mrs. Gillette's class painted 21/100 of the mural. What part of the mural is painted? Well, Mrs. Stark's did 3/10 and Mrs. Gillette's did 21/100. So, I have 3/10 plus 21/100. I can't add these together because they're not equal fractions. We've talked about equal or equivalent fractions with tens and hundreds like 2 or 3 lessons ago. So we already know how to find them how to make them the same denominator. Okay, I want to do hundredths, so I need to make my 3/10 into the hundredths place. So I'm going to write 3/10, and I'm going to find equivalent fraction. And I need to get that into the hundredths. 10, and so I'm going from smaller to bigger. And when I do that, I times. 10 times 10 and 3 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 3 times 10 is 30. So now I have 30 out of 100 plus 21. Now I can go ahead and add these together. 30 plus 21 equals 51 out of 100. So altogether, the 2 classes painted 51/100 of the mural. Okay, when you put all of their paintings together, it's 51/100. Okay, we will do more of this. The reason we can't add them if they are not with the same denominator is because the denominator never changes. Okay, it needs to stay the same, whether you're or only when you're adding and subtracting. Okay, so example number 1, I have 4/100 plus 1/10. It's always easier to add when they're in the hundredths place. So I want to make my 1/10 equivalent in 100. So to do that, I'm going to write 1/10 equals something over 100. Okay, I'm going from smaller to bigger, so I'm going to times by 10. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. 1 times 10 is 10. Now I have equivalent fractions. 1/10 and 10/100 are equal. So now I can go over here and rewrite it. 4/100 plus 10/100 equals what? 4 plus 10 is 14, and 100 just stays the same. Okay? That's all you do. Let's look at it if it was a decimal. Okay. Example number 2. Find 5/10, 0 and 5/10 plus 0 and 25/100. So, when they look like this, when they're in decimal form, the first thing I'm going to do is turn them into fractions. Turn them into fractions. That is my first step. Okay? When I do that, I'm going to just write it in a fraction as I say it. 5, and I'm in my tenths place, tenths. Okay? Plus 25/100. I'm in the hundredths place. Now it looks familiar. Okay? Step number 2 is to get them with the same denominator. 100. So I need to make 5/10 equal to something over 100. Smaller to bigger, times by 10. 5 times 10 is 50. 50 hundredths. Okay? Then step number 3, I can just go ahead and add these together now. I have 50 hundredths plus 25 hundredths. Not 25. 25 over 100. 50 plus 25 is 75 over 100. Okay? Since I started with decimals, my fourth step would be to turn it back into a decimal. Okay? You only have to do this if you start with a decimal. 75 hundredths, I'm going to just write that as I say it. I have 0 ones, 75 hundredths. And there's your answer. Okay? All right. Let's do example number 3. Find. Here's the money. 25 cents plus 40 cents. Okay, so when you're in the same place value, you can just go ahead and add these both, but let's turn them into fractions. Okay, so I have 25 hundredths and 40 hundredths. I don't have any changing to do because they're both in the hundredths. Okay, so 25 plus 40 is 65 hundredths. Since I've started with money, I want to see how much money I have. So I have $0.65. Okay? I think I have one more example before the pause problems. Yep. Okay, example number 4. 25 hundredths plus 2/10. Okay, first step. Equivalent fractions. So I need to make 2/10 equal to something over 100. Smaller to bigger. So I'm going to times by 10 because timesing gets us bigger. Times by 10. Whatever I do, sorry, not by 100, by 10. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 2 times 20. 2 times 10 is 20. So sorry. Okay, so now I have 25 hundredths plus 20 hundredths. And I can just go ahead and add this. 25 plus 20 is 45. 45 hundredths. All done. Okay? Here are your pause problems. Pause problem number 1. Find and write as a fraction of $1. That means that I'm going to figure out what they equal and then write it in money. Okay? So, I have 26 hundredths and 59 hundredths. Okay, this is a pause problem, so pause the problem and figure it out. But I'm going to keep going. Alright, I can see that I'm already in, both of them are both in the hundreds, so I can just go 26 plus 59, 6 plus 9, let's see, 9, 15, 5 plus 2 plus 1 is 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 85 hundredths. Okay, so I figured it out. Now I want to write that as a fraction of a dollar. So I have 0 and 85 cents. Okay, that is pause problem number 1. Here is pause problem number 2. Bottom. Find I can't read my writing. Let's see. 7/10 plus, I think that's a 2. 22 out of 100. Sorry, I couldn't read right. Okay, pause the video, figure out what it is. Now I'm going to keep going. Okay, I have one in my tenths, one in my hundredths, so I need to make my tenths an equivalent fraction of 100. So 7/10 equals something over 100. I'm getting smaller to bigger, so I times by 10, times by 10. 7 times 10 is 70. So I have 70 hundredths plus 22 hundredths. Okay, what does that equal? 70 plus 22, I have 2, 7, 8, 9, so 92 over 100. All right, hopefully you got it right. And we will talk more about adding fractions when they have the denominators of 10 and 100. Bye.